With all of the market volatility we're seeing today, some of it might feel familiar, especially to those who lived through the dot-com era. Tiffany Gonzalez, CPA here, and I want to take a moment to educate those who don't remember or weren't around back then, because understanding that time can give us a helpful perspective for what's happening right now. Can you even imagine or remember a time where we had dial-up internet, AOL, CDs in the mail, and websites that took forever to load? This was a time when the internet was new. It was exciting, it was full of promise, but also full of risk. In the mid-1990s, the internet was just starting to go mainstream. It felt like a gold rush. Everyone wanted a piece of it. Investors, venture capitalists, even your neighbor who had $1 million idea for a website. The stock market, especially the NASDAQ index, which was full of tech companies, started climbing and fast. And I mean really fast. Between 1995 and 2000, the NASDAQ shot up 1,000 points to over 5,000 points. That's a five-fold increase in just 5 years. Money was pouring into internet startups, many of which didn't have a product or a plan to make a profit. But if your company had a .com in the name of it, investors just threw money at it. It didn't matter if there was a business model or if the business model made sense. Everyone was afraid of missing out on the next big thing. Startups were spending massive amounts of money, sometimes up to 90% of the budget they were given on marketing alone. The goal really wasn't profitability, it was visibility. Get big, get noticed, go public. And they sure did. In 1999 alone, there were over 450 IPOs, with 39% of that venture capital going to internet companies. By early 2000, the hype had reached its peak with the massive AOL Time Warner merger, the largest in the history of time. But what goes up must come down. In March of 2000, the NASDAQ hit its peak, 5,048 points. Just days later, big companies like Dell and Cisco sold off large chunks of their stock, and that spooked investors, and panic selling began. Within a few weeks, the market lost 10% of its value, and it didn't stop there. By the time the dust had settled in October 2002, the NASDAQ had dropped to just 1,100 points, a staggering 77% decline from its peak. Companies that were once valued in the hundreds of millions were now worth pennies or nothing at all. And even big names like Cisco, Intel, Oracle lost more than 80% of their stock value. Most dot-com companies went completely bust, but a few, like Amazon, eBay, and Priceline, survived. They had strong enough foundations and eventually turned real profits. But it took years for the NASDAQ to recover. In fact, the NASDAQ didn't hit its peak again until April 2015, 15 years later. So why did it fall apart? The dot-com bubble burst because it was built on hype, not on solid business models. Startups didn't have profits or sometimes even products. They had easy access to money, and investors weren't thinking long term. When capital dried up and the reality hit, the whole thing collapsed. The dot-com crash is a reminder that while technology can be exciting and full of potential, smart investing still comes down to the basics. Does the business make money? Does it have a plan? And can it survive the ups and downs of the economy? As you invest in the current dip we're experiencing, this is what you need to keep in mind. If you found this video helpful and insightful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook at Accounting to Scale. Until the next video, your favorite CPA, Tiffany Gonzalez.